Howdy. Thanks for joining me today. Cheers. I'm Jimmy. So I want to give some tips on memory. It's kind of the foundation of everything we know, everything we've experienced, our memories of the past. And how it seems like so much of your future and the present moment depends on how strong your memory is and how accurate your story has been here. So with memory, I think the most important thing that you should practice to have a good memory is to not be a dramatic person who's easily frazzled or who's triggered by what other people say. If you allow your emotions to pop up when somebody says something and distract you and take all your attention away, you're not going to be able to remember a lot. I just think that's what goes on with a lot of people in public. They can't really remember what has been done here and what's going on because they're so emotionally charged. So I think that's like the greatest advice I could give you, is to have a clear, calm, level head when it comes to your memory and thinking about things. Don't get too passionate. Don't get too aggravated. Stay neutral. Let things flow peacefully. If you could think of a still water, like a lake that is still, versus a lake that is wavy and crashy, and it's the same what's going on inside you with the water inside your body. It's either still, structured, crystallized in a way, or it's constantly waving and being your energy, your emotions. The energy in motion is always moving with the current or what somebody said today. So that's my number one advice, is to be calm and peaceful. Then your memory work a lot better. Next thing I'd say is your health, the water you're drinking. You need to have clear water without any additives, anything in it. Make a long story short, memories are stored in water. How do you think the reflection works when you look at a lake and it reflects back at you? I know you want to scientifically H2O plus oxygen plus oxygen plus 2 hydrogen equals water. No, water is some sort of magical substance that holds memory. That's why we're made up of mostly water. Our joints memorize things, our head and all the water in it has all these memories. So you'd have to think, if you're sitting in a city drinking water that has a bunch of chemicals added to it, that's why you can't remember stuff. It's because you have these heavy metal chemicals in you. The fluoride, the chloride. Memory is such a funny thing in this age. If you're exposed to Wi-Fi signals, if you live near a cell tower, all of that is attacking your sound mind and fracturing it constantly. So it's hard to keep stable thoughts and memories in this environment we inhabit. So it's a big part of this is getting away from pollution if you want your memory to work right. Drinking water from the ground instead of water from a plastic bottle. I mean, it's just so simple. It's all documented. Every piece of evidence is there. All this plastic is getting inside your brain, clogging it up, making you stupid. So get plastic out of your life and your memory is going to work better. What a big surprise. And I want to keep this one short. So I give you some, easy tips. But something that I don't know if you've thought of, but if you're an IT person, you work on computers, you probably have stumbled across this. But simply how a database works on a computer, it's the same way that a filing cabinet works in real life. So when I was taught about databases, it changed my entire structure of how I memorize things. And it kind of happened, it's not like I went into learning about databases to get a better memory. I was just being some nerd in IT, learning another thing. Needing to make the money, right? But after I learned how a database works, I looked back and I realized like my memory's better because now I'm able to store things logically inside myself a little easier. So I'll give you a quick run-up of kind of how that works. You think of a filing cabinet. You've got one cabinet, right? And it's got multiple doors on it. You open one of the doors. There might be some folders in there. And then within each folder is a specific record, right? You could have a whole filing cabinet filled with pictures of yourself, pictures of your family, pictures of strangers, pictures of nature. So you open that drawer, you've got all these folders. One folder is people, one folder is nature, one folder is family. You open those up to get the correct pictures. But basically, I'm talking about you create large categories in your head and then you zoom down to the smallest detail within that category. In this age of the Mandela effect, in this age where memories have been implanted in people, if you go back to when you were a child and when they told you all these stories, they had you memorize 1776. They had you memorize World War II and the Allies were the hero. Axis were bad people. You gotta understand, you literally as children, we've had memories implanted into us that aren't ours. Somebody else's story. And for me personally, I can remember all the stories that were told to me. I can remember a different side now that I've seen other evidence, other stories about what happened in 1776, about what happened in World War II. I can retain both of those stories. And I don't believe either of them. I only really want to memorize and keep things in memory that I have experienced. All these stories have kind of a much lower place in my mind. All the stories are there. This side said this, that side said that. The actual conclusion I came to is totally different. But none of those stories matter compared to my own experience. And if I can remember my experiences and continually test them each year, to just be aware, people have memories that have been implanted in them that are totally fake. They didn't test out. They don't know is real. All they did was memorize something and it became real. Memory is such a funny thing right now. And you just know there are plenty of people's memories that gets erased every year, and they can't retain the story that's going on here. They're influenced so much by their emotions and the crowd. They take on the story from the television like broken husks, no memory of their own. This is a funny time for memory. You've got people in their 20s having Alzheimer's, right, and losing their mind already. My brother, he works in an Alzheimer's unit at Washington University, and it's all ages, that are losing their mind at this point, and they got all sorts of crazy ways that they're trying to give these people their memory back. When I just think it kind of all adds up to the second thing I touched on, was the pollution. The medications people get on. If you haven't really realized it, like the people that rule this realm, they've destroyed those people's memory on purpose so they can be used. Easy tools, people without memories, all these autistic kids, all these people with brain problems, neurological problems right now. It was all done on purpose for control. Definitely need to know that one, that your memory, your mind, it's all under attack from the outside. So you got to get to a clean place where they can't get you with that pollution and warp your mind. You got to stop watching TV. You got to stop watching so much of the internet and the crap it puts out. You listen to crazy people like me, you're going to be fine. Because you actually get to see the other side of things that nobody talks about, nobody's allowed to see. That's why I hang on the internet still. There's still a lot of useful information. There's still a lot of people teaching me a lot of things all the time. But it's that distracted state of the mind when you get on the computer, you stare at the TV. You got to do it every now and then for an escape. But when you make it a constant escape every night, and you listen to somebody else's perspective on things, and it just clouds your memory, you should probably sit there at least one night or 2 nights a week and just reflect on all that is happening. Try to make all the ends meet, all these things in your head that are floating that really don't make sense. Reflect upon them. Maybe things will add up a little easier instead of taking your time sitting there and sucking up more information that might confuse you. There's a lot that goes into training your memory, getting it in a good spot. But I'm telling you, it's the water. The big part of it is having clean, structured water. No plastic anymore. Memory is a tricky thing. You should really work on it. I love you all. Enjoy.